Hello everyone, welcome. It's currently May 24, 2025 at 3:10 p.m. and I'm going to be streaming some more mapping today. I'm very nervous about this stream because I haven't done a mapping stream in a while. The last one I did was for MapLab's Freeze 2, and this mapping stream I'm going to try to return to a workshop add-on I was working on for EZ2. Nice one. Thanks, Meneth. Hi, Meneth. Oh, I didn't say hello to everyone yet. Hi, Matt. Hi, Boom Donuts. And hi, Meneth. So, about a year ago, I was working on this workshop add-on for Entropy 02 that's going to be fleshing out the story of a minor side character from EZ2 and Legendary Comeback to Hammer. No. I think that's part of the reason I'm nervous, is because just looking at these levels, they kind of pale in comparison to what the community has done in the meantime, you know? Like, you've got add-ons already, like Aperture Zero, and I feel like the Scar Zero add-on is going to be a little bit redundant with that, because Danskart did a really good job with his version of Aperture. So we'll see. I want to make this add-on unique and have it say something a little bit different, but I think that function will be covered by the Displacer Pistol. Yeah, I got ahead of myself a little bit there, but basically a year ago I was working on this add-on. It's going to flesh out a side story that takes place during Chapter 3 of Entropy 02, and I worked on 3 small vignettes for the project, and then I sort of stopped. I got busy doing other things, and I never got back to it, and then my next mapping streams after that were MapLab's mapping streams. So this is our first time returning to the Scar Zero story in about a year, I think. From what I saw, the last stream was in April, unless I was wrong about that. The event reminder on Discord, Return to Mapping stream, made me think of Return to Ravenholm. Yeah. I wish Return to Ravenholm had been finished. It's been so long since the last mapping stream. I agree. I'm nervous that this might not be the right thing to do for a mapping stream. Like, I think I had a lot of success with the MapLab's mapping streams because MapLab's having deadlines sort of enforces a tighter schedule that makes it more feasible to map something in a short amount of time and have it, you know, still be releasable. But I figure the first thing that I'll do is I'm going to play through the 3 vignettes that I made last year. We'll talk about them, and then I have a whiteboard design for a new map, mostly. I actually kind of just stopped here. I scribbled this in like literally 1 minute after I woke up and the idea kind of hit me, and I was like, oh, like let's do the map this way. Yeah, so we'll make this map as far as we can get, hopefully about this far, and then that'll be today's stream. So first, let me pause the music and switch the scene. I wanted to play through the vignettes that I made last year so we can refresh our memory. Bro, woke up with a vision. Yeah, I've been struggling with inspiration, so it was good. Developer test maps for the Scar Zero Workshop add-on. Oh, you know what? The HUD is going to be red because I forgot to unsubscribe from Prospect Zero Remake. That's kind of funny. I guess it fits for Scar Zero. So these were the 3 vignettes that I made: the nest, the chambers, and the gnome. So starting with the nest, I was watching some of my stream footage from before, and what's kind of struck me is how basic this map looks. Like, I could really do a whole stream of just improving the visuals in this map. Hi XD, welcome. This is not visually a very appealing map, but I do like the idea that I was going for here, except that zombie does not want to go to sleep for some reason. Is he ever gonna go to sleep? Okay. So, Scar Zero has fallen through the vents into this gnome nest here, and we find out right away that this button opens that door. Classic Portal. Those displacements, yeah. Glad to see you back to mapping. Just saw the VR gameplay preview and it looks really promising. Thanks! Yeah, this Scar Zero add-on is very secondary to my main project right now, which is Entropy 01 VR. This projected texture is important here because it shows when the door opens and closes. You can see the shadow. I want to continue using projected textures sporadically like that. Now the zombie's asleep. So I noticed I added a little optional area here where if you jump on the cube, excuse me, if you jump on the cube, you can climb up to get some supplies. Yeah. Neat. And these cubes have working fizzlers. So if I get the cube lost, I can do that. Oops. One thing that makes this different from Chapter 3 is that the turrets are not defective. Did he see me? He saw me, he saw me. Okay. I have the response system set to Combine Soldier lines right now. Eventually I want to have unique voice acting for Scar Zero. Oh, I forgot he can go up there. That's pretty tense. I think story-wise, I'll need to introduce the Gonome before this map even starts so that players aren't, like, caught off guard by it attacking. But I imagine there will be some kind of flashback sequence before this starts, so I'm not super worried about that yet. Is he gonna get stuck, or is he gonna find his way out? I think he might be stuck. Oh, he is stuck. That's not good. Ooh, he didn't activate the button either. That's also not good. Bug report. Also, thanks, Boob Donuts. I remember Trivy commented that the lighting didn't look enough like Chapter 3. And so I was looking yesterday to see, like, what can I do to replicate the way the lighting looks in Chapter 3. And it's a little bit different than I expected. Like, Chapter 3 basically uses extremely harsh lights. Like, they'll have red spotlights with extremely high intensity placed strategically throughout the map. So most of the map is in shadow, but when there is light, it's like this very intense red light. Sometimes they use orange. Sometimes it's orange, sometimes it's red, and then the goo tends to have a blue, like, point light near it. So that provides color contrast. Now, I think I'm stuck here with the Gonome because it's not able to find its way home. Oh, no, there it goes. There he goes. There goes my hero. Okay. So we got our little portal puzzle here. Oh, he saw me. Okay. Ah, no! Okay. That was sad. I want to do this somewhat quickly because we've got to get to the mapping part. But I think we get the gist of what's going on in this map. It's just a very simple button puzzle in a Combine Soldier context. Now, one thing I noticed is how basic this area looks. Like, there needs to be a lot more detail work. I don't know what I was doing on streams a year ago, but clearly not detailing my maps. These monitors, I think, should show something story-related. This is the same kind of monitor setup that the Rebels used throughout EZ2. Kind of makes sense. Did that alert the Gonome? I think it did. Oh, he saw me. I'm gonna Maybe he didn't. Maybe he doesn't know that I went this way. Overwatch sector is not secure. How are you doing today? Oh, I'm doing great. Yeah, I'm having a good weekend. I've been pretty busy lately, though. That's the only problem. I'm worried that I might be too tired to, like, do a mapping stream. I feel like they're a lot more intense compared with other kinds of streams. I'm making an experimental map for Gmod with Lua SNPCs. That sounds awesome. Hi, Bloody. Welcome. You won. So this right here is actually where I'm going to pick up with the map that we're going to work on today. It's going to follow this progression. Here goes the Gnome. He's struggling to figure out how to jump up here. I'll actually join from Twitch. Nice. Welcome to Twitch. Okay, so let's look at the next vignette. So that one I called the Nest, or SZ Nest 01. I also worked on a vignette called the Chambers, SZ Chambers 01. This is going for more of a Portal style. I think this prop is a little bit over the top here, looking at it in hindsight. Like, I kind of went overboard with the Portal theme. It doesn't look very much like Chapter 3. I'm kind of curious, how does the story start? Does the extraction fail and does Scar Zero fall into the chambers, or does it happen after that in a different Arbite facility? Oh, good question. So I'm intending this to happen after the Gnome wipes out Bad Cop Squad in Chapter 3, and Scar Zero is taken to the Gnome's nest. So he survives being killed by the Gnome. Not exactly a retcon, because there are lines in EZ2 where when your squad gets wiped out, Scar Zero will say something over the radio implying that he has survived, but he's badly injured. But yeah, good question. U1 has the same vibe as I am a placeholder shirt that the zombies wore in Return to Ravenholm. You're right, yeah. No, I think I tend to go overboard with placeholders sometimes. It's good to, you know, it's good to save time, but you also want to give a sense of what you're actually making. Hi, Ellen. Welcome. Thanks for joining. Your mapping has been looking great, as usual. I saw your screenshot in the mapping channel. Nice crate. I remember seeing it in the Discord before. Wait. XD, didn't you make this? Or did Danskart make this? I didn't make this. It is a nice crate. I thought I got this from you. No, I think Danskart made it. I think I'm getting mixed up. Attracting vital act. What's that? Danskart. It was used in self-execution. Nice. Yeah, I remember that now. So this is introducing hostile turrets, of course with no ammo, as well as our aperture core buddy. And this is where I wanted to bring in the displacer pistol. Oh, your maps aren't fun to play with currently? But you're still working on it, right? You know, there's still iterations to be made. It's a nice way to indicate the Scar Zero event was successful and that you will see him later on. Yeah, exactly. So here is the displacer pistol. I wanted to do more puzzles with this, but we just have this very basic one. We've got a cube, and we can transfer it through a door without having to pick it up. And this is how we get our aperture core. We can also incinerate him.
Preparing to dispense product.
I think that's a game over. Yeah, that's a game over. Which makes sense. This aperture core is going to be our version of Wilson in the Scar Zero add-on. Y'all gonna finish the displacer pistol for AP? No, it won't be an AP. I don't think that would make much sense. But I am gonna finish the displacer pistol for this add-on, I suppose. Blixabon made the Arbite cores like this guy, and they look so good. I'm just noticing the little details like the Arbite logo on the left side. Love when they get scared of enemies nearby. Yeah, I wanted to also show I mocked up a little, what did I call it? Like a scene. I mocked up a scene where you fight some guys in here. Can't remember what I named the entity, so this is from like a year ago. Where does that prop come from? The tall one that the crate is against? That's definitely a Portal 1 prop. I don't remember why I thought to use it here, but it seemed to make sense at the time. I don't remember what I called the enemy spawner. Oh, wait, this one. Okay. Oh, killed by a baby bull squid. That's embarrassing. Yeah, that's how I expect combat to go with the portal pistol.
Target lost.
Casually watching a citizen get demolished by a baby bull squid. That's the kind of chaotic gameplay that I intended the displacer pistol to be used for. So we've got one more vignette before I actually get started. This one is going to be basically a crossover scene. I was really excited about this idea. I love the idea of like...
Not the first time I've run prototype library. I'm taking...
Oh, no, I'm bad cop. Oops. A little bug there. But, I forgot I added those zombies. Yeah, so... If I go over here, we should be able to see... Bad Cop and Wilson come out. Are we gonna make a new vocoder for EZ1? I don't know. We're gonna re-record the lines for EZ1.
Hey, I can see you in there.
Yeah. So now we can see Bad Cop and Wilson entering the boss arena. And there's the Gnome. Before I aggro it, I wanted to show these cameras where we can see the arena. So this is a little crossover scene where we actually cause the Gnome fight at the end of Chapter 3. And this is cool because you get to see Bad Cop as an NPC. Why is the Gnome making so much noise? What? What's it doing? Kind of awkward. interesting that all of them activated at once. That's different from how it is in normal gameplay. I wonder if I'll get a better angle if I go back to observation deck. I can't believe Scar Zero tried to kill Bad Cop. I mean, I interpret it as him knowing that that's a way to deal with the Gonome, right? But actually, that might be a good point. Uh-oh. Is the Gonome winning? I think the Gonome might be winning against Bad Cop. That's not a good sign. Yeah, he's trying to kick the Gonome. Uh-oh. I just like watching NPCs fighting. I don't know. There's something about it. It's like NPC battles. So I imagine the way that this will work... Oh, he's back. Oh, that was a bug. The way this will work in the actual Scar Zero add-on is that you can leave as soon as this fight starts. You won't need to wait for Bad Cop to kill the Gonome. This will just be going on in the background. In fact, I was thinking even having like fast zombies spawning around here, so you're also fighting while Bad Cop's fighting. When I'm playing Small God, it is kind of like that. This is a little bit like Gmod. Oh, hi Dan. Welcome. I don't know if we should watch this entire fight play out, but I kind of want to, so I'm just... hopefully you guys aren't bored of watching this. Oh, he fell in the pit. Not sure where the Gonome went. Oh, I see. That fast zombie is stuck. Let me help it along a little bit. Wait. Give weapon 357. There we go. I have to find a way to deal with that whenever I'm, you know, making this map for real. Oh, I think the Gonome is going to win because Bad Cop keeps trying to kick it. Don't try to kick it. It's not going to work. I have to, like, disable his kick attack or something. There, I helped.
Did it? Man, I can't believe he killed that thing.
That was really something, wasn't it?
Something's going wrong with the particle
so we
effect.
can
But...
get out of here.
Oh, he's going to deal with the zombies first, and then he's going to get Wilson. And I have Bad Cop hands, I just realized, in this map. I should have Scar Zero hands. I never developed that. He is scripted to eventually get Wilson. Yeah, there he goes. He's gonna go pick up Wilson. Little janky. Yeah, there he goes. There they go. They're off on their journey. A little awkward. Yeah. That was the idea. So I think this map is going to act like a kind of hub. I think I'm going to extend it in like different areas that weren't visible in EZ2. like, this part is from EZ2, but I think I want to have, like, you go through the observation room. I probably want this door to open. This door will go somewhere. So this door will probably lead over to the area where you get the displacer pistol. And then I'm not sure how I'm going to connect the area that you start in. But I think that's going to be kind of the overall flow. Oh, I can overhear them talking. Are you using the clone cop NPC for bad cop? No, it's NPC _ bad cop, I think. Can we consider them canon after? I mean, yeah. I don't see why not. Okay, so that is the story so far. So let's look at the whiteboard that I prepared. Oh wait, let me mute the game audio. Not realistic. If I was bad cop, I would be back hopping. You're right. I'm sorry, back hopping is not canon. So I actually drew this wrong because I forgot how the maps were oriented. But from that area that we ended off where it said you won, I want to have the player walk into a portal test chamber. But I'm thinking I don't want to keep going with the portal test chamber theme. I think we've played that part out. So this chamber will actually be broken. You can't complete it, but there will be a panel that's extended. So just like in the the Cake is a Lie section in Portal, you can escape through the panel that opened, and then you'll get into a maintenance area. And that's the main thing I want to focus on in this map. I want to show the gonome forming like a nest. That's something we didn't really show in Entropy 02, but I think it's the kind of thing you would find if you looked at sub-levels underneath where you were in EZ2. I want this to be kind of non-linear. I want this to be an area that you'll return to later. So there's going to be a door with a Wilson console that you can't use yet that will be an objective later on. I thought we said something about the word canon from back in the Shadow Apartment stream. Yeah, I don't really use canon. Like if I say the word canon, I'm using it lightheartedly in like a colloquial way. I really dislike the way people talk about canon most of the time. I think it's very silly. So no, it's not really canon or non-canon or anything like that. I'm just sort of using that word the way I think most people use that word. Let's get some background music. So when I drew this on the whiteboard, I thought that the exit from SZ Nest 01 faced upwards, but actually it's going left, or east, I should say. So I'll have to flip this whole, flip the diagram that way when I'm making it in Hammer. Also, real quick, in OBS, let me capture my mouse cursor, because I realized I turned off mouse cursor capture when I recorded the gameplay videos for the EZ1 VR trailer. How do I do that again? Capture cursor. Yeah. You guys see my cursor? It barely shows up, but that's okay. And for the background music for this stream, I'm going to use the Progenitor soundtrack, the Axon Pariah soundtrack, the Entropy Zero Uprising soundtrack, and the EZ2 soundtrack. And we can add more songs later if we run out. Yeah, no worries, Matt. This is going to be a slower stream, so I don't think you'll miss very much if you have to leave. The Progenitor's soundtrack has summoned me. Is Spencer composing? He did some tracks for Axon Pariah. I think... Did he do this one? No. No, not this one. He did one for Progenitors, right? He did... Agent Provocateur? Yeah. Spencer composed this track, Agent Provocateur, which we'll get to that one next. But he is composing for Axon Pariah as well. At first I thought you meant for Scar Zero, and I would say no, I don't think so. I don't think that's worth his time, to be honest. Well, you know, you never know. Maybe we'll get there eventually. But yeah, I made this little placeholder to start off my map. Yeah, Progenitor's map base guy's here. I don't know if I said hi, Blix, but thanks for joining. For some reason in OBS, the wave emoji doesn't show up. Probably won't be here for long, just FYI. Oh yeah, no worries. I appreciate you stopping in. I feel really nervous because I'm so, like, rusty. Like, it's been so long since I've actually made a map. I think I want to probably keep this simple. I was thinking about maybe having, like, a drop-off or something, or, like, some stairs, but I think we could probably put it at the ground floor, actually. Yeah, I think that makes the most sense. Because this is going to be just a very basic portal chamber kind of area. I wanted to add a little bit of a gap around the edges so we could maybe have lights coming from down below, like how some portal maps do it. The entirety of the EZ dev team is burned out. I mean, yeah, that's one way to say it. For sure, that's something that we talked about in the article. I'm just going to keep it simple for starters, and we can add detail as we go. I'm not sure if I want to use this texture for the panels, though. I'm going to start with a really basic shape, because I think this wall will get most of its shape from the pit that I'm going to add right here. This room doesn't need to be very big, either. This is just this kind of area. Let me change my Twitch category from just chatting to software and games development. Super basic right now, but that's okay. I was trying to think about ways to differentiate the Scar Zero add-on from Chapter 3, because I don't just want to do an add-on where you just do Chapter 3 again, right? Like, we already have Chapter 3, and I think one way that I might do that is by taking some inspiration from Amnesia the Bunker. Amnesia is more open-ended. Oh, the Bunker is more open-ended, and you can find weapons and ammo and use them in, like, a very dynamic way. It's not really scripted. Like, you'll have very limited resources of, like, explosives you find or things like that, and you have to decide how to use them, but it's different for every playthrough. I think if I could achieve something like that, that would be really good for an EZ2 add-on. Easier said than done, I know. Now, do I want the whole thing to be the charcoal panels? Maybe. I kind of do. This was the texture on the other map, but maybe I can retroactively change that. Before I do anything, I'm going to cut that hole in this area. I think the Displacer pistol is a pretty unique addition. I always thought if Scar Zero had a melee weapon, it would be his bare hands. Well, he's going to have the kick, so I don't know if he needs a melee weapon. But it would be interesting if he had a unique melee weapon. I think I probably mentioned this on my last stream, but if we ever implement something like the kick in VR, it's going to be a weapon bash, where you just physically just take whatever you're holding and you just go BAM! And I think that'll be a lot of fun. I can't wait to try that. maybe someday in the distant future we'll have support for Vive trackers, so you can put a tracker on your foot and actually physically kick the enemies. But that would be in the distant future. Yeah, I love this track. This is called Temporal Anomaly. It's by Spencer and it's for Axon Pariah. I think of this as being the main theme of Axon Pariah, but ever since I heard it, I was like, yeah, that's a title theme. What happens if you fall down there? How do you get back out? Clearly I did not think this one through. Isn't it somewhat implied that Scar Zero beat a rebel to death in the room where you find him? You're right, actually. He did. I kind of forgot about that, and I made that scene. The original Scar Zero scene had, he managed to steal a weapon from a rebel in that room. Like, he was being detained in the same room where they were keeping a bunch of rebels, and he somehow got one of their guns and, like, massacred a whole bunch of people. I don't remember exactly why I changed that. I think it was just kind of... It gave off a very edgy vibe. I don't know. I think it's still very brutal to find him in that room with the one person that he killed, apparently with his bare hands. I mean, that is pretty gruesome, right? But the way it was originally seemed just over the top. I don't remember exactly what it was that made me change it, but it was like, I don't know. I never go wrong with a good title theme. This one is called Uncertainty Principle, also by Spencer. My favorite from the combat tracks? I'm not even sure if this is a combat track. I'm trying to remember if we're using this track yet. I don't think it's implemented, but I might be having a lapse in memory again. Remember when Scar Zero used to be called Lone Wolf? You know, it's crazy. I haven't even thought about that. Like, it's been such a long time. Maybe that can be the name of the add-on. This prop just goes everywhere. Like... That doesn't make any sense there. Who put that there? Why would someone put that there? I don't know. I can't... Guys, can you help me think of a good way for the player to get out of this pit? Oh, I just realized I still have the scene for gameplay, not the hammer scene. That's better. Could make one of the walls collapse so there's a ramp. That's such a good idea. I could have, like, basically this wall could be pushed outwards by a piston, and then it's at a 45-degree angle so you can climb it. That's such a better idea. Thank you, Blix. In fact, I know this is incredibly lazy, but I kind of took these as a prefab from Chapter 3. He's still a lone wolf. I might be misremembering, but he also stalks Bad Cop a few times in Chapter 5 before he shows up in The Last Stand. He shows up in the what would you call it? Like the garage kind of staging area outside of where Bad Cop contacts the advisor. I wouldn't say that he stalks you. It's not like a G-Man sighting where he's like in the background sneaking around. I don't think HLX will be announced at SGF. I think, okay, I don't like to like engage in idle speculation about Valve announcements because they're so unpredictable. But if I had to speculate, if I had to give my thoughts on when do I think the next Half-Life will be announced, if you want to call it HLX or whatever, I think they will just post a trailer on a day that works for them. It'll be like a, I don't know, some Tuesday at about like noon. They'll just post a trailer on YouTube without any warning. That'd be extremely stupid. That's what they did with Half-Life Alyx. Yeah, that's like, this isn't a very bold prediction. I'm just describing how it was when Half-Life Alyx got announced. Half-Life Alyx was Half-Life 3. I don't know why people like treat it like it's something different. I think this is about how far it should go. You're going to jail. Yeah, I mean, if that's how they think of Half-Life Alyx, then I don't really want to play the next Half-Life game, to be honest. Like, Half-Life Alyx was incredible. It was like one of the best things I've ever played, seriously. And like, I don't say that lightly. Half-Life Alyx was like life-changing. Not to be hyperbolic, but it was just so incredible. But the ultimate experiment of what Source 2 can do is what a Half-Life 3 would be. That's what made Half-Life 2 great in the first place, is that they were experimenting with what they could do with the latest technology. The two kind of main pillars of that are the character animation and choreography, like face animation, and the physics system. So what Half-Life 2 did with physics and with character animations, that's what Half-Life Alyx did with VR, and that's what made it so awesome. Sorry, I'm a bit of a Half-Life Alyx fanboy, I guess, but one of my favorite games. It'll be interesting how, like, the story will change if they make another Half-Life game. Like, Half-Life Alyx didn't really change the plot. Well, I mean, obviously it progressed the plot, but like it's not like it made like major retcons to anything, but it changed the way that I thought about the games a lot. It gave me like new ideas. Like, I thought about things maybe one way, and then I played Half-Life Alyx, and then suddenly I'm thinking about them a different way. You know, so I think the same thing will happen if there's another Half-Life game. Yeah, no spoilers, but it definitely does like progress the plot. But I meant like, I guess I meant it doesn't like majorly, I don't know, why would it, right? But why would it retcon? I don't know. It's, if people were expecting it would change things that already happened, it didn't really do that, other than, yeah, obviously progressing the story forwards. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm kind of overly worried about spoilers. It's a 5-year-old game. I'm sure there aren't that many people watching stream who haven't already played it, so it's probably not a big deal. I just try to be careful, because when I'm not, I spoil things too easily. That's the wrong texture. Maybe I should use this texture. That looks good. I hope they never do that again. Selfishly, I hope they do. I love VR. I think that the VR industry is in a lot of trouble in terms of there isn't a lot of software being made for VR. Not enough. I mean, there are good VR games, and a lot of them go under the radar too much. Maybe I should stream some VR games. But what is this? Okay. Half-Life Alyx was... There hasn't been a VR game like Half-Life Alyx since it came out 5 years ago. And I think that's a problem for VR if it's going to be viable in the future. How do I want to do this? Yeah, I don't put a lot of stock in what, like, rumor channels say. Like, I'm not really interested in what Gabe Follower's opinion is. A lot of people probably didn't like the story of Half-Life Alyx, and that didn't stop me from liking it. VR still feels like a novelty. It doesn't to me, because I'm really involved in social VR, right? But using VR for games is like, I don't know, it's not what I thought it would be. It's like, I don't usually play VR games. When I do play a VR game, it feels like a lot more of an investment of energy compared with playing a traditional flat game. And I think that makes it really difficult for people to make VR games, because it can't just be something casual, right? Like, when you're in VR, it's like kind of all or nothing. Can't even imagine Half-Life 3 on Source 2. Well, I can by nature of, like, it's not really a third Half-Life if it's still on the original Source, right? Like, the jump from Half-Life to Half-Life 2 was the Source engine, and the jump from Half-Life 2 to Half-Life Alyx was the Source 2 engine. So, I think I don't know, it makes sense to me that there's going to be engine changes, major engine changes, like redefining engine changes along with the new entry. Hi Kylo, welcome. Yeah, I do play a lot of VR chat. Have you played Gmod with a VR mod yet? I can't believe I haven't. I know that there is a popular Gmod VR add-on, and I really should try it. I owe it to myself to try it, but no, I haven't. I feel really weird about the hype surrounding a potential Half-Life 3. Like, it feels out of touch to me because I was invested in Half-Life 2 during the episodes. I was invested in Half-Life 2 episode 1 and episode 2, invested like in the story, like emotionally, personally with the characters. I liked those characters. I liked the story. So I wanted Half-Life 2 episode 3. And I don't really get what people mean when they say, oh, I can't wait for Half-Life 3. Like, what do you mean Half-Life 3? What's that? Like, I wanted Half-Life 2 episode 3, and that never came out. So, like, now what? Like, I'm not really excited about Half-Life 3. I'm gonna be honest. It's like, I wanted a conclusion to that story. And people just shifting gears and saying, oh, we don't want a conclusion to the story, we want a new game in the series, is like, to me, that just seems really lame. I'm like, you know, I don't know. Like, what makes me anticipate a new game in a franchise is the story, usually. Because other games can do Half-Life-y things, but only Half-Life can tell me what happened to those characters. That's also not really how Valve thinks about it, so there's kind of a weird tension there between player and developer. I don't know. Oh, Blix is heading out. See you, Blix. Thanks for joining. Sorry, there's been a lot of hot takes on the stream today. This is I'm getting political on stream, talking about Half-Life 3. Can't wait for the overworld. I wonder if we'll ever get to see it. It would be really interesting. And that's a location that I'd like to see more mods tackle as well. Like XBlah, XBLAH did a Run Think Shoot Live map. I think that was set on the overworld years ago. It was really, really good. I'd recommend checking that one out. Have you played Deadlock? I have. I only played it like once or twice, which makes me feel bad. It's not really my kind of game. I mean, I'm really interested in anything that Valve does, but it's not. It didn't really hook me. Like I thought it was good. Don't get me wrong. I didn't dislike it. Just not really my kind of game. People are excited for everything related to Half-Life nowadays. I, for example, don't get the super hype around Adrian Shepard return when he was just a faceless, silent protagonist. It's true. Like, why are people attached to characters that don't have any personality? I like Adrian. I mean, I'm attached to Adrian, so that's more of a self-reflection kind of question. I think it's like you kind of imagine a personality for him in your head through the things that he experiences, right? It's like you know his journey, so you want him to be a character. Like I'd love to see Adrian Shepard come back. I'm not holding out for it. And I think mods have already tried to answer that question for themselves. Man, I wish Return to Ravenholm would have come out, would have existed. That looks like a lot of fun. You could say the same about Gordon as well. I think that changed in Half-Life 2. I think they gave him more of a through the things that other people say to him. You never get like you never see him directly really because you are him, right? But you get to know him a little bit better, I think. But you're right though. He is another silent protagonist. People talk about Opposing Force sequel, but wait, Kylo, you're making the Opposing Force sequel. I didn't even connect the dots when you said that about Adrian. So if you're not excited about the return of Adrian Shepard because he's a silent protagonist, like why did you want to take on that story? Like I'm not disagreeing. Friendly fire. Oh, this is off grid. What have I done? I think it's probably okay. This is not how this would... This needs to be able to pivot about something. It can't just like shear through the metal. You think anyone will notice that this doesn't make any sense physically? You know about the other mod I'm working on? I was talking about Through the City. I don't know if there's another mod, actually. Make it funk detail. Yeah, but like... Okay, so I'm just noticing as I rotate this thing that having this just shear through this metal at a 45-degree angle doesn't physically make sense. Like, there needs to be like a hinge that it would be on or something. Maybe I can actually do that. Okay. But then you also have to think like maybe no one would notice. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I know about Through the City. I think I played the Through the City demo years ago, and I recorded, like, commentary on it, but I don't think I posted it, and I don't remember why. That would be, like, before I was even, Like, before I did streams, for sure. So maybe I can kind of pretend that this is like a ball joint in here. It still doesn't physically make sense, but at least look. I can make it a little better. Okay, wait. By taking this thing, it still wouldn't make sense that it would be able to pivot. Maybe I take this thing. Clearly, I am not a mechanical engineer. We're gonna pretend that this has like a something that it rotates in there, about in there. It needs like an axle. It can. Oh, it doesn't matter. Overthinking. You know what? I should have just removed the piston and just had it tip at an angle, actually. That would make more sense. I know what to do. That looks bad. Okay, wait. Yeah, that's fine. You can probably just remove the piston entirely, which kind of defeats the purpose of a lot of this. Oh well. I guess the best way to describe it is Through the City started as a very amateur map pack about Gordon Freeman fighting through the uprising. Over time shifted direction to playing as a rebel, but because of not being sure of a protagonist's name, I decided to just make Shepard the protagonist. I thought he was a forgotten character by the community. Oh yeah, far from it. That's interesting. I wouldn't have expected that. I would have thought that you had wanted it to be Adrian all along. Have the wall be detached from the piston, so you would jump on the piston and then on the wall. Oh, that's such a good idea. Wait. No, you got this. This is better. Okay, so you can jump up on the piston first and then jump up on the wall. Can the player jump that? Maybe I'll add some other props so that you can easily get up there. I wasn't gonna test this just yet, but maybe we will. Well, yeah, we'll test it in a minute. I grabbed these cubes to tell me what materials to use. Okay, so we're gonna use that material up there. Oops, I forgot that I had texture lock enabled. That's okay. That's better. Very high ceilings in here, I feel like. Now we're at the Entropy Zero Uprising soundtrack. I'm not personally a big fan of Opposing Force. I do focus now on making Shepard an interesting character, but generally asking the question outside of my mod. I don't get the hype around Opposing Force sequels. My mod isn't even trying to be an Opposing Force successor, more like it's an independent thing that just includes Shepard. And I do feel like if Shepard was to come back, that's how it would happen, right? It wouldn't be, like he would be an incidental character, not, it wouldn't be like a Opposing Force 2 exactly. That's how it was with Ravenholm, and I think it's pretty much exactly the same situation. I don't think that they were really aiming to answer questions about Adrian as much as they were utilizing him as a protagonist. You tend to get attached to the character you're playing as in games, and you'd want them to have a happy ending at the end of the story. Adrian's conclusion being him getting detained by the G-Man and left to dust in his storage closet isn't really the most satisfying end for him, which is why I think people want him to return. I get that. I do think that it doesn't make a lot of sense for him to return for that reason, you know? It's like the word from the G-Man was he's being moved to somewhere where he can do no harm and no harm can come to him. So it's like, it doesn't make a lot of sense why he would come back if the G-Man's goal for him is to just keep him out of trouble, basically. I think true Opposing Force sequels, Entropy Zero and Entropy Zero 2 fill that gap perfectly as being an expansion where you play as the opposite side. There's one thing that Breadman has talked about that kind of surprised me is that it seems like Entropy Zero is less of an homage to Opposing Force and more of a response or a critique of it. Because in Opposing Force, they kind of like wash over all of the bad things associated with the HECU and they present the HECU as more or less good guys. And in Entropy Zero, it's not like that. Like, you are still the bad guy. The Metro Cops don't get to be the heroes just because you're playing as one of them. And I think that was something that he did very intentionally. I never really had that problem with Opposing Force. I liked Adrian being a good guy, but I also get it. I get why that's something that is worth breaking down or critiquing. The Void Osprey better had led to Shepard to G-Man's 5-star stasis hotel. You know, the Northern Star Hotel would be a good location for like a G-Man alternate universe, you know, like a pocket dimension. Imagine like that old rundown hotel with everything floating. I mean, it was kind of like that in the apartments in the vault, right? I don't know. The detail work in here is non-existent. I do need to break this down better. Northern Petrol. It's the Northern Star, right? HECU made Opposing Forces propaganda to fool the scientists that they're chill. The city is more like an extension of Shepard's story, giving him a satisfying conclusion, but the mod's main focus is to give an in-depth story experience with new characters and ideas. Yeah, I appreciate it for that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Lock in music, exactly. Oh, you guys are talking about Adrian Shepard, but I'll be honest, I'm more of a Private Tower type of guy. Wait, who's Private Tower? It sounds so familiar. How many maps are planned for this? That's a really good question. I didn't really have a map plan in progress, like number of maps. Like I didn't break it down by maps, but I think I can answer that. I think I don't know, because it's gonna be 2 maps in the nest area, 2 maps in the chamber area, 1 map in the chamber area, and then 1 map in like the main like chapter 3 area. So like 5 maps, but then like will there be like flashbacks or like an outro or stuff? I don't know. Like I guess we're too early on to really say. Prologue is a 1-versus-1 fist fight against a rebel in enclosed spaces. I do think it would be cool to have some like brief flashbacks to Scar Zero's detainment and maybe show like the rebels removing his transponder. I think that could be interesting, especially depending on where the story goes. Private Tower is one of the minor HECU characters in Opposing Force. He's the guy with the head wrap and the LMG. Is he from like the later chapters? Because I think I remember that guy. "75% of the blood on Scar Zero isn't his." I mean, that might actually be the case. He's pretty banged up, but like, he did have to fight that guy. I had this thought earlier today. I was thinking, we can't really have flashbacks of Scar Zero from before this mission because the soldiers have their memory replacement, and it seems like, we don't know much about how memory replacement works, but it seems like probably they don't remember much beyond their current mission, because in Half-Life Alyx, the grunts get wiped like while they're out on patrol. They'll have like their memory refreshes. We don't know if that applies to the soldiers exactly. It's all very murky, but it does. It's kind of. It just seems like if you had like him, if you had Scar Zero having a flashback, it doesn't feel like a Combine soldier because we know that their memories are removed. But what if he's having flashbacks because he hasn't had a refresh in enough time because the rebels messed with his head. Like they took out his transponder, so Overwatch can't have him refresh his memories, like his memory refresh isn't working. So he starts having these flashbacks and he actually wants to get rid of them. I think it would be an interesting, like, sort of flipping the situation on its head, where maybe Scar Zero doesn't want to remember anything and that's why he's a Combine soldier. I think that would make him a very tragic character. Like, he's obviously a bad guy, but you would kind of feel pity for him a little bit. The grunts are separate from the main Overwatch force. I mean, yes and no. Like, we don't we never see... The ranks are just different in Half-Life Alyx. Like, we have the grunts and the ordinals as opposed to just the soldiers in Half-Life 2. So we don't know a whole lot about the distinctions. But they are like their own characters. I cannot find, for the life of me, that prop that I used for like the cage light that's flush with the wall. What is that called? Maybe you could have flashbacks like the Shadow People in EZU. That's exactly what I was thinking of. The way in EZU, memory replacement is like something that needs to be refreshed periodically. It doesn't just persist. EZU did a good job with that. Oh, here's the exact prop that I'm looking for. It was called Caged Light. I think I looked up Cage Light, and this is actually called a Caged Light. That's silly. Private Tower appears in the intro chapter in the Osprey talking to one of the soldiers. Later, he's mentioned in a radio transmission. During the Waste Sector chapter, his model is used for a few other LMG soldiers. Okay, so the LMG soldiers that you fight alongside are not actually the same guy who's on the Osprey, because he probably died in the crash, right? Scar Zero was in Clone Cop Squad before, right? Yeah, that's absolutely true. I'm keeping this light turned off because, does this have an off skin? I don't want to illuminate this door. I want this door to be in shadow because this isn't actually the way forward. The way forward is going to be through a panel over here. This map is really ugly. I need to actually put some time aside and work on improving my detailing process because I'm making this as basic as possible. One thing I wanted that I thought would add a lot of aesthetics to the map would be to keep a gap between the wall and the floor, and then you could have lights below the floor. Like some portal chambers do that, and some levels in EZ2 do that as well. But the textures just work too well when you put them flush next to each other. Like, I don't want to cut a gap there because this texture is tiled perfectly to match the corner. Like, I don't know. Maybe I want to do it different. See you, Meneth. Thanks for watching. Hopefully I see you around. Possibly VR later. I don't think you should focus on detailing so early on. You're absolutely right. And that's a really good point. Because I should really try to focus on getting the outline of the map done today. Get the basics out there, and then I can iterate on it. I think I'm feeling self-conscious because I'm streaming this. If I was just making this on my own, I would be like, of course it's not detailed, you know? Like, I'm just sketching out the map. Why would it be detailed? But it just makes me feel like there's too much of a gap between how I want it to look and how it looks right now when it's on stream. Have you used my custom ammo crate with Arbite energy balls? I'm so glad that you mentioned that. Actually, someone pointed it out earlier. I am using that, and it's going to be very, very important. It's actually in a couple different... It's in a couple different places. So I have it in this map. So this is right where you get the displacer pistol. It's also in the displacer pistol's chamber. So that'll be very important for the displacer pistol overall. And then I also have it wherever you need to use the displacer pistol as a puzzle element, like in this map. Right here. There's this whiteboard that explains how the pellets work, and then the ammo crate. I think the way I'm intending this to be used is that this will be your first introduction to the pellets, but you won't have the displacer pistol yet. You'll walk through here, you'll probably realize, okay, I can use this to kill the gnome, because you see these zombies that run into the field, and the zombies die, and you're like, well, wait a minute, if this field can kill zombies, I can use it to kill the gnome, but I need a displacer pistol. So then you're going to go through here, and, oh, no, you're going to go through here, And this is where I want you to go to get to the displacer pistol. The ammo crate is Scar Zero's... What is that? Might have misunderstood. Are you drinking coffee? Yeah, I've got a cold brew. Scar Zero, Scar Zero? How is the ammo crate like Scar Zero? Second best friend. Will the core speak? I want to say yes. I don't have any acting for it yet. We're still way too early for that, I'm afraid, but my intention is to have original voice lines for it. But we will see how far I get, right? In fact, it did not kill the Gonome. Yeah, that's how the fight with Bad Cop and the Gonome is going to start. This room should be empty, because I'm only creating this to basically prevent light from leaking, but I also want to have something of a room here in case the player can sneak a peek through the door or something. But it's going to be an empty room. Nothing in here. Because the player isn't intended to open this door. I'm going to put a button here that's actually broken. So even if you get the crate, you won't be able to open the door. If you threw an Arbite energy ball item into an energy pellet receiver, would it work? That's such a good idea. That's a really, really good idea. CW has to voice him. I don't know. Like, CW is a great actor, but I feel like we should have, like, new characters voiced by new actors, you know? Like, I don't think everyone should be the same two voices. I don't have someone in mind, I'll say that, for the Arbite core, because it's just too early. I know that I know what kind of voice I want it to sound like, but I haven't reached out to anybody because we don't have a playable demo yet. Starring Microsoft Sam as the Arbite core. As a placeholder, that would actually be really funny. When you get to the Gonome nest, you should amp up the Zen infestation. I intend to. I'm nervous that I won't be able to pull it off as well as I would like to. Hi, Agent Golem. Oh, you're commenting on an earlier message. I was confused for a second there. Microsoft Sam screaming in high pitch every time a zombie shows up would be funny. Like, maybe I can find a video. This takes me back 17 years ago. No. Yeah, this is my favorite YouTube video from 17 years ago. That's crazy. That video is almost old enough to vote. GIF of Snake getting old. We're getting older, yeah. I was thinking more about an annoying child screaming. You know, but like, it's gotta be Microsoft Sam. It's gotta be. Wait, why is... Okay, there we go. So I'm just taking the button prop because I want this button to be broken. You cannot solve this portal puzzle. It's way too close to the door. That looks like a terrible portal puzzle. Not how... Okay, this is better. Still looks kind of... whatever. Just gonna tilt it at a funny angle. Sink it into the ground a little bit. What are your top 3 maps that you're proud of? I've made so many, but a lot of them I'm really not proud of. I hate to say it. I think I angled this button too much. Maps that I'm actually proud of. I feel like Shadow Walker 2 looks decent. And I've always struggled with visuals. I like creating gameplay situations. I like setting up NPCs and doing like AI stuff. But game AI, I just realized we're in 2025, and now when you say AI, it sounds like you're talking about LLMs. Setting up NPC stuff and scripting and all that, that's like my favorite thing to do. But the visuals, I'm always like kind of iffy on. I'm not a great artist. Graphic design is my passion, you know, that sort of thing. So I feel like Shadow Walker 2 actually looks okay. Like visually, I think I look at it and I think that's a good looking map, and so I'm very proud of that. It's not like the best map ever, I mean, by any stretch of the imagination, but it's like I think it's nice. I really liked the Good Shepherd in terms of just doing something different that was unique and kind of unusual. I don't think the Good Shepherd is a very good map, and I say that because I don't think the core gameplay loop is fun. But I think it was a successful experiment because we had a very experimental idea for gameplay. Like, what if you had to rescue as many NPCs as possible, but there's no reward or fail condition for not rescuing enough NPCs, or, you know, rescuing like all the NPCs. The only reward is knowing that they survived, and we wanted to experiment with that and see like how does that feel. I think it doesn't feel very good, but we tried it and we did something unique, and I've just never seen any other map anything like the Good Shepherd. Graphic design is my passion. Yeah, no, maybe I can pull that up. I like this one. Graphic design is my passion. The Good Shepherd was a Crossfire map, yeah. Let's see, what other maps am I really proud of? Honestly, like, I did a map that was called, I can't remember what it was called. I remember struggling with the name. I think it was, I can't remember the names of my own maps anymore. That's so sad. It was the one that was set on the Borealis. I remember wanting to call it Apprehension, so the working title was like Trepidation, but I think I called it like a more sciencey name. I'm really drawing a blank on the name of that map. Hopefully it comes to me. That one was pretty good. He forgot his child's name. Yeah, exactly. I made a map called Bootstrap that was also set on the Borealis. That was pretty cool. That had like some experimental gameplay. It wasn't anything fancy, but it was made in a very short span of time. It was for like there was a map that was like the 60 seconds challenge or something where the game actually has to end after 60 seconds. And so I thought that was an interesting theme, and I implemented it in a way that I'm very happy with. Is there a way to make sparks go randomly without... Oh, yeah, you can. Longest delay between sparks, 3 seconds. Medium. I'll probably want to point the sparks in this direction. What? Weird. Probably want to point the sparks this direction. Start on. Looking forward to Entropy Zero update. Thanks. Yeah, thanks for stopping in. This is a mapping stream, so I'm working on making some custom maps. I'm making an add-on for EZ2 that's going to star a side character from the game. Do you guys think I should stream content relating to EZ1 VR? Because I had sort of been treating that as something entirely separate from streams, but the more I think about it, the more I think streaming through testing EZ1 VR might be kind of fun. Like, it kind of kills two birds with one stone, because then I can get testing done for EZ1 VR, and I can also stream, and maybe you guys would like to see that. See me take notes on things that we need to change and look for bugs and all that stuff. Programming stream. I would love to do a programming stream like for EZ1 VR, but I can't because the code is not available. It's closed. So I could do a programming stream for changes for EZ2. Like maybe I finally fixed the displacer pistol bugs that I discovered a year ago. That would be kind of cool. Side character, and it's the 5th most important character. I don't know about that. I mean, he's literally optional. Manhacks be upon ye. I should upload the whoa manhacks be upon ye video like as an official upload. I think I was too nervous when I recorded it that EZ1 VR wouldn't be announced, or like we would have to abandon it or something. Now that it's officially announced, I should do more videos for it, because I think especially the manhacks it's just so much fun throwing manhacks in VR. I can't explain to you how funny it is to hold, well, it looks like a grenade in your hand right now because we don't have a view model for it, but holding the grenade in your hand and pressing the trigger and then like throwing a manhack. It's so funny. Oops. My music stopped. Where'd my music go? Oh, I paused it. Oops. Tactical manhack throwing. I want to put an observation window right here. Yeah, I've actually punched my ceiling in VR so many times, and I totally would do that when throwing a manhack, just like punch the ceiling. I have low ceilings in here. I just realized, according to Twitch, Spike Shark Gaming followed me 16 minutes ago. What was I doing 16 minutes ago that I didn't even notice a follow notification? It's not good, but thanks for following. Can you fit underneath this? I'm gonna assume you can. You're welcome. Yeah, of course. Thanks for stopping in. I How do EZU Metro Zombies not let go of the manhack while it's literally cutting their hands? Is it cutting their hands? Music is a bit loud. Sorry about that. Is that better? I think the way that the Metro Zombies hold the manhack is such that it's not actually cutting their fingers. Like, they hold it underneath where the blades are. But if it was cutting them, I mean, they're zombies. They probably have... Like, they don't really react to pain in the same way. I don't know. Like, they probably just cut up their hands a little bit. I can't hear the music. I was asked to turn up the music. Or turn down the music, rather. Survival instincts of a corpse. I mean, they are corpses, so makes sense. How do I want to do this? Because I want to have basically the piston is coming through the wall, and then you can crouch under the piston and go through the wall and come out the other side. Might be just your headphones. Oh, that's okay. Audio levels can be really tricky. As long as the manhack doesn't hurt the crab. Yeah, I mean, gameplay-wise, they just don't do damage to themselves. But I'm trying to come up with an in-universe explanation. Do I have the Metro Zombie model? Probably not, because this is EZ2. I was going to look at it. Let's just look at Scar Zero's bald head. What was I gonna say? Someday I'd like to do Entropy Zero Uprising in VR. I definitely can't commit to that, but I think that would be the next target after Entropy Zero 1 works in VR, you know? Doing Entropy Zero 2 in VR would be a monstrously huge project. Like, I don't know. But Uprising would be kind of... It would be still big. Almost as big because of all the map-based merges in the code. But I feel like it's like a good middle ground of like transitioning over to doing EZ2 in VR. Scar Zero's conclusion as a character is getting a wig to cover his bald head. Bald. I think putting Scar's head in his helmet is pretty much the furthest extent of how I've learned Blender so far. I'm not good with Blender. Bold. How do we do similar scenes in... Okay, I wanted to avoid referring to EZ2's maps because I feel like it's too... Like, sometimes I cheat. I cheat too much when I'm mapping, but... I'm just curious, how did we... We had, like, big panels. Okay, we had, like, entire wall-sized panels. And sometimes we don't have any, like, piston behind the wall. That kind of makes sense to me. That's how I did it in the first map, too. Don't we have another section where there's, like, a wall that's pushed away by a piston? Not really. We don't do that very often. I feel like maybe C3-1 has a few. Oh, that looks cool. I like how Breadman, like, pushed this panel out with a piston and then, like, rotated it at an angle. Oh, this is... Okay, so this is exactly what I'm looking for. This is a cutaway of what one of these walls looks like. I'm so tempted to just like rip this, but that would be bad. Don't want to do that. But yeah, it should look like this. Always fascinating to see the decompiled map as a non-mapper. Yeah, and this isn't decompiled. This is the original source, which is good because that way there's no loss of information from decompiling the map. How does the lighting work in here? I've been streaming for an hour. I just got here. Oh, it's okay. Mapping streams are very slow paced, so I don't feel like you miss a whole lot if you have to drop in, drop out, drop back into the stream, that sort of thing. This test chamber from Breadman is like the perfect example of how to make it look not blocky, because so he did some greebling on the wall just by taking some of these cubes out of the wall. That's what I'm gonna do as well. Trying not to copy his homework too much, but I also like how the floor breaks away in this section. It gives it much more of a feeling of depth. And yeah, this piston coming out of the wall, he actually had two pistons. One of them is closed, one of them is open, and that's how kind of information is lost from decompiling. It like some of the brushes look weird when you decompile. I don't know exactly. Yeah, some of your funk details become world geometry. I know that. I know it creates some funky brushes. It would lose skip brushes because those don't compile. It would lose probably viz groups, although I feel like I've seen viz groups in a decompiled map before, so maybe it is able to get those back out of the BSP somehow. But basically, when you make the map in VMF format, it compiles down to BSP, but BSP isn't meant to be the editor format, so if you decompile back to VMF from BSP, it's like there's some information isn't preserved when you compile in the first place. I don't know if that makes sense. Ooh. Look at the detailing in this little, like, tiny corridor. That's the kind of thing that I need. Again, I just have the temptation to just grab existing assets from EZ2, which I don't want to do. So, yeah, let's talk about the plan. So, I'm continuing on from where we left off in this map. This map introduces portal puzzles and introduces cubes and buttons, and the gonome, and we ended it off here where I added this little text that just says U1. So we're continuing from there, and the idea is there's going to be a short portal test chamber that you can't solve. The portal test chamber will be broken, and you need to instead escape through a wall panel, and then you'll get into a maintenance area underneath Arbite 1, where there's going to be more of a Zen infestation in this area. I was saying that Valve is bad at optimization while I look at decompiled Half-Life 2 maps. Yeah, it would be worse, you know, with decompiled, because your funk details sometimes get destroyed. Sometimes brush information, like brush entities, can get lost, or tool brushes can get lost. I don't know exactly what goes wrong. I just know it's a bad idea to recompile a decompiled map. Sometimes I think the coordinates of brushes change a little bit, like there's like rounding errors, but I could be wrong about that. Yeah. It does feel good to get back into this. Genuinely. Did I not do soundscapes for this map? I only see one soundscape for this whole map. It's not good. Good to catch a stream too, because I've been unable to for a while. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, I know life gets busy sometimes. I've been having a hard time finding time to stream, but I'm glad I've been sticking with it because it's been going really well. This stream has been inspiring me to come back to my 23 unfinished projects. Yeah, I have so many. Guys, one thing I really want to do someday is remake Distress Signal. I feel like that map is a prime candidate for a remake. It would be a lot of fun. Please don't focus on detailing yet. I'm not focused on detailing. Sometimes you gotta detail a couple things here and there, but I wouldn't say that's the focus. I think I'm just gonna copy this over. Because this is actually our progression path. It's gonna be a hole in the wall here. Distress Signal, I forgot though, does it feature John or Jane? Yeah, that was gonna be with Jane, Distress Signal. You made the character model for her. Her character ended up being a lot different in Cold Snap. If it's really the same character, I might still like retcon it and make them not the same character, but I always kind of interpreted them to be the same person. Oh, I forgot the panel. Only the most important part. Sometimes there's things in your mind that you want to release. I agree. Both 04 citizens. Oh, I didn't know that. So it's both male 04 and female 04. I should just group that. Group. How is this off grid? No, it's off grid. That's unfortunate. That's very off grid. Maybe I can actually use the vertex tool to get it back on the grid. Yeah, there we go. Snap to grid. I think snap to grid is on. Yeah, snap to grid is on. They're kind of interchangeable if you ask me. I was thinking about making use of the model and maybe adding them into the first map of Chapter 2 as maybe slightly stronger citizens with the Arbite suit. Oh yeah, that's smart. When I heard about EZ1 VR, I got a headset that's been sitting in a closet for a while and started using it. I need an adapter because for some reason they decided to make the data cord a USB Type A. Oh, what kind of headset is that? USB Type A. Is that the Vive, maybe? On the hammer grid doing the gritty. I think I'm gonna head out. Oh, thanks for stopping by, Matt. It's been good. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Oh, Gordon Freeman. Gordon Freeman. Like they didn't mean it's bad to detail like overall. They meant it's bad to detail right now because I'm still sketching out the shape of the map. So I understand the concern. It's not. It's a well-founded piece of advice, but it's always kind of a balance, you know. Any discussions in the Breadman dev team about EZ2 mapping comp? Yes. I need to reach out to the Map Labs team about it again. I've been thinking. I really wanted to run one in June because July and August are going to be really busy. I'm out too. Thanks for the stream. Have a good one, y'all. Yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Fair enough. I just joined. Yeah, no. They're talking about in context for how early I am in the map because I just started mapping. I just started working on this map in particular. So, that's where that concern came from. just cut this. So that's going to be where we progress through. Hi, Dorky. Welcome. How do I want to light this? So, Chapter 3, I was trying to look at how Chapter 3 handles its lighting. Chapter 3 lights tend to be very high-intensity lights that are pointed very deliberately, like, I look at like C3-1, right? Like they have like lights shining through these vents. And this light is 800 strength, which is like a ridiculous intensity. It's constant as well. It's not quadratic. Usually I use quadratic lights because that's the default. And it's pointed through these slats that give like very sharp shadows. So I think I want to do something similar in this map to try to preserve the same style. Oh, I think I cut myself off mid-sentence talking about a mapping stream. I wanted to run a mapping challenge in June. It's too late to announce one for June because that's coming up like next week, and we would have to get a challenge together. I haven't heard back from the Map Labs team. I don't think that a Map Labs collaboration is going to be possible at this time, so we'd have to run it on our own, which is unfortunate. But you know, it might come down to that. That's okay. But yeah, I have been thinking about it. I think if I can't get something together for June, which it looks like we can't, I would instead want to try to plan it for August, maybe? That'd be kind of cool. Like, it could be like an EZ2 anniversary challenge. That'd be fun. We'll see what happens. I'm not committing to anything. I'm just talking completely off the cuff, casually. I don't know what it's going to look like. So, can I recreate this without copying it? It definitely has to be a brush. Like, if I used a model for this, it wouldn't... Actually, I think I can still cast if it's a static prop. I might just copy this geometry. I'm sorry, guys. I don't think I want to cut the brushes individually for each of those slats. Yeah, I'm gonna... Okay, guys, I'm gonna actually take this vent. I'm stealing it. This is my EZ2 vent heist. Stealing it for a reason, though. I really want this style of lighting through the grate, through the vent here. Don't snitch, yeah. I just think it's a bad habit that I have, because I am always looking to reuse stuff. Like, you've probably seen me already grabbing a bunch of stuff from my first map. Brush thief. There's no shame in copying geometry if it's to replicate an art style faithfully. I'm always impressed when people can remake like an area from Half-Life 2 from scratch and they don't use the geometry from the map. That's a pretty incredible skill. I think it goes overlooked. See, maybe this isn't gonna work because... Ooh, let me just... 180. Yeah, so the angle of this light is going to probably not actually illuminate very well. Maybe... One dude broke into my house, stole my vent, and put it into his mod. I think I actually need the vent on this wall, which... Yeah, I totally do. Okay, we're gonna rotate. Hold on, we're rotating. Yeah, this will work really well. Okay. I think I want this lined up like pretty much in the middle of the room, exactly. Perfect. Is that the middle of the room? I think that's the middle of the room. Wait, so it should... That's not the middle of the room. Oh, who cares? It's fine. Oh, but I do need the texture to align over there. Oh, shoot. I think, yeah, I can just extend this. Out there. There. Oh, I messed it all up. I thought an observation room could do a trick for a light source. I was thinking of putting an observation room right here, which would illuminate exactly where I need to illuminate. So you're right. That was very goofy of me. I don't know what I was thinking there. I'm going to keep going with this, and then we'll probably put in the observation room anyways, and maybe I can remove that light if I don't need it. Oh, that texture doesn't quite align. That's sad. Man. Oh. No. Okay, that's fine. No one will know. Would it be valid to steal geometry from a Portal 2 chamber editor map? Chamber editor, you mean like the perpetual testing initiative? I think especially if you made the map, yeah, definitely, 100%. If it's someone else's, I don't know. Like it seems like it still kind of feels like stealing. But it's also like there's a style question too of like, is that how you want the map to look? These are all funk detail. Uh-oh. So this light points like there. Before I continue with this, I'm actually going to try to do a lighting preview. I'll take it. Yeah, you know... Oh, I messed that up. No, that works. That works really well. And then I'll have a second light coming from an observation room. Thanks, Danskart. I'll steal it. No one will ever know. Hi, electrifying flame. I was wondering, does Hammer Editor++ accurately present the light? Because I could swear the light was always brighter in the game. That's a good question, and the answer is no, it's not accurate. Because the lighting preview has to calculate all the lighting itself. It's not actually compiling the map, right? So it's not necessarily going to show you exactly what the map will look like. So it gives it an approximation. That's why I'm using it right here, because the lighting preview is going to tell me pretty accurately where the light will fall, and that's all I need to know. But it's not going to tell me what it will look like, because like you pointed out, it's very dark in the lighting preview. And the lighting preview also doesn't account for things like cube map reflections and projected textures, which I'm going to use a lot of in this map. So it's a very good point. I'm kind of curious about the puzzle editor thing now. Does the game give you the VMF? That's a really good question. I don't remember. I want to say that it actually does save a VMF. I feel pretty confident that it does, but I could be wrong. I knew somebody who worked on a mod for Portal 2 called B-Mod that was basically... it was a pretty popular add-on, I think, but it was like adding new options to the Portal 2 editor. And I think it was basically adding instances that the editor could use. In my experience using Hammer++, the lighting preview is actually pretty okay and helped a bunch with lighting issues. Yeah, it's a really useful tool, but I think it's important to remember that it's not accurate because it's like an approximation, right, of what the light is going to look like. It's not the same process that VRAD uses, so there's a chance that it could be different. Yeah, but this looks like Chapter 3, so this is like when Trivy told me I need to look at how Chapter 3 lights its maps so I can match the style more. This like red, harsh red light, I think matches the style better, and the deep shadows and everything. I think that's more what we're looking for. I could probably use some ambient light around here, though. I don't know. VMod adds back the pellet launcher. Oh, I didn't even know that it did that. I've never actually used it, which is sad. I knew the creator, but I was never much of a Portal mapper before now, I guess. Now, wait a minute. Why is mine no draw? Did I mess something up? Probably did. It's okay. I'll just put that back. I wonder if that actually... Okay. I'm with you here on that. Sometimes it's not really the best when it comes to previewing map shaders. That's a good point. And lighting is missing, and it doesn't have cube map reflections. Yeah, it's a very good tool. It's just good to know the limitations of the tool, you know? So I'm actually going to compile this real fast and hop in. Ooh, what did I do wrong? Oh, I leaked the map. That's embarrassing. That looks like, is that bug detail? Yeah. This actually makes me want to work on the Aperture Zero Part 2 again. I hope you do. I really liked Aperture Zero Part 1. Test chamber is... No! Not the sun is leaking. Don't. Ooh, I think I... Okay, let me get off the lighting preview because it's really hard to see. I think I leaked a funk detail in here somewhere. No? Oh yeah, there's a gap there. I just need to extend this. Oh yeah, this is the gap right here. Oh, that... Get off the grid? No, it's not. Okay. Be fine. It's been a while since I used Hammer Editor, guys. I forgot how, what the... Did I not even... Okay. That's ridiculous. With all the side mapping I've done, Aperture 0P2 would have a huge jump in quality. Yeah. I loved Shadow Apartment. It was a really good map. I can't wait to play another one of your maps, honestly. Yes, click entering the... No. No, stop. Hammer Editor is purgatory. I mean, it could be a lot worse. SC Nest 02. Unreal Engine is harder than this. I haven't used Unreal very much, so I can't comment, but I would believe that. I need to change this light, because this light is supposed to be from the, like, the green exit sign, but oh well. This feels like it's missing something. I don't know. It doesn't look quite right. But the lighting looks good. And then, basically, this... I can crouch under here, so I need to add, like, a little side passageway through here. And then, yeah, this button is clearly broken. If I jump down here, I should be able to get some supplies out of here, but then I can also, oh, the cube is too heavy. I forgot. I need to adjust the mass of the cube. That's okay. Doesn't matter. But yeah, I can get out through that. That was... Blix had such a good idea for how to get out of that pit without a portal gun. Yeah, I'm gonna take a quick break here, I think. I'm not ending stream, but I'm just gonna pause the stream for a minute and go AFK. But I will be right back. Needs an observation room, it definitely does. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Fizzies. I just realized that someone tried to say the sun is leaking in chat, and I added it to my banned phrases because I was so annoyed by the trend. So yeah, don't say that in chat. Good to see that the auto mod is working. Oh no, yeah, I was so... No, it's fine. It's totally fine. What convenient timing. Yeah, I'm just gonna... Oh, wait. I missed the ad. I was gonna take an ad break. I do need to go AFK, though, so I'm gonna be back in about 5 minutes. So please stay tuned. Thanks for watching so far, and I'll be right back. I'm back. Sorry about that. I just suddenly realized that it had been so long since I had like gotten up from my chair and needed to take a quick break. I've been trying to use ads as breaks. I already made the first map of Aperture Zero Part 2 gameplay-wise, and the puzzles are going to use the Portal Pistol, and also there's some reference to Portal 1 and 2. Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun. Can't wait to play that. So, before we move on to the next area of this map, let me change this light color. No, that's not the right color. Maybe like a more of an orangey color. There we go. Before we move on to the next part of the map, I need an observation room right here, and there needs to be a light coming from the observation room that shines directly on this panel, because that's the way forward. For the observation room, I am going to cheat again. I'm going to go back to Nest 01. And use some of these assets for the observation room. Oh, thanks. Should I just copy this observation room exactly? That seems kind of cheap, but I mean, it does the job. And I'll modify it once I move it over. I don't think I'm going to make a gnome spawn in this observation room because I want this area of the map to be more of like a downtime. I don't want it to be like constantly you're being chased by a monster, because we'll get to that later, I think. Needs to be paced. I just imagine Aperture copying and pasting rooms in their blueprints. Yeah, I mean, like, their rooms are kind of like prefabricated, or like they're arranged from panels, so it makes sense. Why is that not on the grid? Concerned. Back on the grid. Okay, there we go. I always forget that I have the soundboard until it sneaks up on me. Will Scar Zero feature Arbite suit references? I was just thinking about that. I would like to, actually. I think that would make a lot of sense. But made these like 16 units. This is 16 units, okay. Then, yeah, no, that makes sense. This goes like right there. I made the Arbite suit prop I mentioned like 12 streams ago. Isn't there already an Arbite suit prop? I don't remember. If not, that sounds useful. I always wondered what the curious case is with the Arbite personality sphere. It's something that could be useful, you know? It's like, it's not like, I don't think it has like a, it wasn't intended to be used in EZ2. Oh, I lined it up wrong. Uh-oh. Nope. Where's the music? I don't have music going. It's kind of loud. Oh, I missed a spot. Oh. I forgot to take the back wall. That's okay. There we go. I once had an idea to work on a mod for EZ2 that set the player in City 14. I got this idea from a citizen mentioning City 14 once in the train station level. Yeah, that's the only other city that's actually mentioned in dialogue, but we've never actually seen it. So that'd be a really cool place for a mod. I would love to see that. I guess that the Arbite core was something fun for people to make maps with, like the prequel and sequel assets. Yeah, exactly. It's something that we could use. It wasn't something that we had like a specific plan for. Love the Zen infestation. I always wonder how variant combos would be like glowy plus Zen or temporal plus Zen. Yeah, I mean, by the nature of the EZ variants, they can only be one or the other. That's a good question. I think, okay. I'm going to flip this. That didn't work. Okay. I'm going to flip everything except for the Zen light. Maybe move that like over here. Maybe move it there. And move this. And I'm actually going to make this a lot closer to the door in this one. I put that There it is. Okay. Could the temporal creatures even reproduce at all? They would still be temporal, I think. If they did, like the poison the poison head crab, the temporal head crab. I don't know. See, now I can use the physics tool on this guy. I have a headcanon that the amount of combine controlled cities only goes up to 100. City 40 and 41 were mentioned in the beta. Is that true? I was about to say, like, the only cities that we hear mentioned are 1 through, or sorry, not 1, but it's like whichever ones are on the train station board, because 17 and 14 are mentioned, and then there's the train station board. Isn't this technically detailing the map? No, because it affects lighting, and also I can detail the map if I want to. Don't tell me what to do. I wonder if I have more of like a goopy texture, like a blue. I thought there was one. Wait. I thought there was one in EZ2 C3 too. I'm sorry. No, it's okay. I'm just joking. But no, if sometimes you want to detail ahead, and sometimes it's better to focus on the broad strokes. There's this texture. This doesn't really look solid though. Like, that corpse model reminded me of what's probably the most obscure Shadow Walker variant ever, the Arbite Walker, which was in the Glowy Enemies pack. I don't even remember that. That would be... I kind of want to see that now, because that sounds useful. Please don't, it's ugly. Oh, okay. If you say so. Yeah, I guess the solid version of the texture just looks like this. I wonder I didn't use that. I think I could use it here. Shadow Walker entry taking place in the Arbite communication sectors would go hard. I agree. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Let's see. Why isn't this working, guys? Solid phytoplankton wall. Yeah, exactly. City 40 and 49 are mentioned in one of the transcripts in Raising the Bar. Specifically, now arriving City 17, Samuel says that most of the cities look the same from afar, but when you're inside, you see how different they were before the 7-Hour War. That seems like a good lore drop to me. Like, I know it's not part of the actual game, but I think that might as well apply, you know? This doesn't look very good. I'm gonna be honest. What have I done here? Oh yeah, the Shadow Walker could be brought to Arbite by the anomaly. That's a really good idea. I like that. Okay, we're gonna redo, take a mulligan on that one. That just did not look good. Here's what I'm gonna do instead. I'm gonna make it a plane that is parallel with the floor. In fact, it can even extend out here. That's way too much noise. I don't know why I did that. Do 32 max. And so from down here, you can only really see this part. Had a Shadow Walker variant that were Borealis workers' corpses possessed by the anomaly. Yeah, that does seem like something that would fit in like the Arbite location. If we're going on info from the game currently, however, the amount of combine control cities would probably be something lower. Minimum would be 30. Well, the minimum would be whatever the highest number on the train board is, but those are only cities that you can get to by train. So even then, it's like there's probably more than those, but we don't really know. Since the city with the highest number on the train schedule is City 27. I didn't even remember that City 27 was on there. But yeah, that's the highest one that we know about. But I think it says very little about what's the actual, like, highest city number. What? Okay. Goop. Let's see what this looks like. So why does this not do anything? Oh, it does something. Oh, it does. It's a bit too bright. Oh yeah, I never put a back face on this. Welcome back, Blix. Back with the E replaced with an A and K added at the end. Whoa. What did I do wrong? Ooh. Oh, oh. So like a tiny, yeah, there is a tiny crack. Okay. That's way too bright. I actually washed out the red light entirely. Like blinding. Let me try something a bit different. I don't like how the red light overlaps with the blue light. I think it looks kind of gross, but it works. Yeah, it works. Let me try something different. What if I just forgot about the idea of using this as a light source entirely? Forgot about this dude. I'm just gonna viz out all this stuff. I hate that this is kind of better. I don't know, what do you guys think?
Oh, fiddlesticks.
Oh, fiddlesticks, what now? It's alright. Do you like it better with the bright blue? Like overpowering everything, or do you like it better with like the moody red light? hint of blue, but the problem is that there's really no hint of blue, you know what I mean? It's like, it's kind of all or nothing. Like, let me try something a little bit different. I think I could use more light in general. Yeah, Blix, did you see when I like over like let me just show. This is what I was working with, and I was like, this is no good. Like this. Maybe it would almost make more sense to like flip the red lights to the other side. The solid phytoplankton is an actual thing. Yeah, it is. It's used in Chapter 3 a little bit. And I think it works better for what I'm going for as opposed to the Zen wall, because the Zen wall, like it's not clear that it's using the phytoplankton. Maybe, okay. Maybe I just need to turn the intensity down a little bit. A small blue barrel instead. But it's like, it's a gonome infested. Okay, so we're gonna lower this intensity. You could add fake ambient lighting. So that's something I do a lot in my maps. I want to avoid doing that in this mapping project because they don't do that in Chapter 3. And I am hoping that I get something approximating the Chapter 3 art style. Yeah, I think I just need to tone it down. You guys are right. There's a blue barrel wood pallet model. There is. In fact, that would probably be best to use here. I'll use that. Oops. That looks a little better. And then, yeah, I guess I should replace these with the palette. Is there no skin of the palette with the goop? No way. I don't believe it. I remember using the glowy version before too. It's used in Chapter 2, Map 4. Maybe we actually just used the like the brush to hold them together in that map. That's crazy. I don't think this makes a lot of sense, but it does kind of work. This is what's it called? Driven from Entropy 02. Really need more EZ songs on my soundtrack playlist. Yeah. I don't listen to them a lot because I've heard it so much already, you know, but it's really good. Yeah, I think this kind of works. Will there be a husk with blue goop? I think there's a workshop add-on for that. It might be by XDXDXD. Yeah, it's important to separate art from the artist, and sometimes it can be really awkward when an artist wasn't who you thought they were. Trying to think how much further I want to go on this stream. to look if there's raid channels or not. Because we could keep going. I haven't finished the whiteboard design yet. But we could also wrap it up pretty soon. That's what I'm trying to decide. We'll go a little bit longer. Sorry, I'm just looking at the Entropy 02 Discord. Somebody posted mapping and modding some kind of vehicle that looks really interesting, like a combine, like the elephant from Halo, but combine. That looks really cool. I want to see a whole map around that now. But anyways, I'm gonna table the lighting question for now about how we want to light that room from the observation area, and instead I want to work on moving on to the next area. Yeah, it's a really creative idea. So how do I want to do this? I think probably I can just copy this thing to the adjacent panels for starters. Then I'll close the panel. Wait a minute. Wait, what? That doesn't... Might be a problem there. No, it's not a problem. Okay. I can see it where there's a whole level where it's a Combine base that moves from place to place and Combine engineers work there to survive, like Dark Interval with the Borealis ship. Yeah, I think that sounds like a great mod. It also reminds me of Blue Canary, which was a Map Labs entry. That looks pretty good. This is below the player's crouch height, right? The player, when crouching, is like... It's like 48 units. Since the Snowy Combine are going to be used in the EZ1 update, is there any feedback about it you'd like to give? Last update they received was the snow being toned down to be less. I don't know. I noticed Redman used them in Chapter 1, Map 2 already outside, and they looked pretty good to me. I haven't seen them enough to really have any feedback. Is the snow on a separate mask? I thought it would be kind of cool. I don't know if this is changing things up too much, but it'd be kind of neat if there was like a separate patch for City 10 soldiers. And then we could add the snow on top of that. That was just a thought. The glow up on that map is amazing. Yeah, I'm really impressed with it. Breadman has been putting a lot of effort into making it, you know, giving that map a makeover. I just saw what he did to Chapter 2 Map 1 today, and it's incredible. I'll give that as a sneak preview. He wanted some feedback, and I was really impressed. I liked that in Easy One there are citizen zombies and snow-covered combine, and the maps look more polished, and it doesn't look like a mod anymore. Yeah, Breadman has learned so much over the course of EZ2. It feels professional. It really does. It's got that level of quality to it. I don't feel like I'm there yet with these maps. You know? Well, actually, wait. Eh. There's our way forward. Yeah, thanks. Do you no draw all the exterior surfaces later on? I used to build everything in no draw and then apply textures, and then I changed that practice because I realized it's easier for me to measure if I put a texture on the brush and then resize it with texture lock disabled. That lets me like shape the geometry to the texture, and then the thing is, the exterior faces get no draw regardless when you compile. Yeah, I'm still streaming. It's been about 3 hours. I'm gonna wrap up within the hour. I forgot I had the tab open. I was out doing stuff. Oh yeah, no worries. That's called lurking. Lurking is appreciated. What was I gonna say? Yeah. When you compile a map, the exterior surfaces get no draw anyways when it compiles. Like, everything that touches the void is actually not drawn. So it doesn't... I think the only benefit of actually making the brushes no draw is that with, like, interior faces like this, that might be, like, if this was covered, like here, like this one would get no draw. But you don't actually have to put no draw on the outside of faces. I always used to, and then I realized that when I stopped doing that, it didn't really have any point, so I just kind of gave up on it. Feel free to tell me I'm wrong in the chat if anybody has any other opinions, but I haven't really noticed any benefit to doing it that way. It was just sort of a habit I picked up long time ago. It should definitely be like like this texture should be right here, and there should be something behind it, like pipes. Okay. I wonder if I could use this one. It seems like it'll fit. Would there be clone cop dens like Ratman? That's a good point. You know, I haven't really thought about it very much. I don't really intend to put new clone cop dens in, but then, like, why wouldn't there be new clone cop dens? Because this is still Arbite 1, like, it's just parts that Bad Cop didn't go to. I don't know. Maybe. You guys hear that sound? It didn't sound good. Will Scar Zero interact with Clone Cop at all? No, because of the timing, right? Like, I mean, I guess technically, could they have interacted? It's not impossible. I think, okay, I did, this is bringing back a memory. Maybe somebody gave me this idea. Scar Zero could, like, encounter Clone Cop while the Gnome is dragging him through the vent. Like, maybe see him through a vent cover or something. Otherwise, timing-wise, it wouldn't line up. Average source sound cache static sound. You're right. Oh, I hate that sound. Maybe you could stumble upon the place Clone Cop was speaking through the cameras from. That's a really good point. It should be the Clone Cop hideout. Is it the Clone Cop hideout, though? Because I think it is a different, like, design. It's a really interesting thought. Favorite EZ2 soundtrack? It's a tough one. Because I like... Okay, if I can cheat and say that multi-part tracks count as one track, I think Legacy Parts 1 and 2 do such a good job of, like, having the same melody, but with different, like, moods, you know, because Legacy Part 2 is the fight music, Legacy Part 1 is, like, the ambient, you're meeting Clone Cop for the first time track. So I think those are really good. You think there is any other squad from Clone Cop who survived besides Scar? No. Scar is the final team unit. If they did survive, they would end up in similarly bad situations as him. Which could be interesting, I guess. Maybe I need, like... Maybe I need an orange light to come through here. Maybe... Okay, wait. Hear me out. Hear me out. I'm just gonna make this deeper. And then, make it fade to orange. That's probably too far. What if... I was to purchase fast food, but disguise it as my own cooking? No, What's this track's name? Is that the last one? So the last track was, how do I not know these by heart? So this one is called Entropy Zero. The last one was, it's the one that plays in C4 3A. It's not driven, it's, what is that called? Was that Infiltrate? What? No. We got Entropy Zero. Infiltrate. It was Infiltrate. You're right. Because I was getting Infiltrate mixed up with a different one. I was thinking Escalation. I got the names mixed up. Yeah, Infiltrate is that one. Knowing the soundtrack's by map and not name is crazy. Well, I mean, I always hear it when I play that map. Yeah. Entropy Zero will always be my favorite track from EZ2. I think just like Temporal Anomaly is the title track from Axon Pariah, Entropy Zero is the title track from EZ2. I mean, it literally is the one that plays on the main menu, but it's the one that I think of as being like the theme for EZ2. Well, other than, I mean, I guess Problems of the Mind is also kind of the theme, but that's the end credits theme. That's like different. I don't know. You think rebels dump trash or corpses in Aperture? I mean, we saw the trash system in Chapter 3, where somebody sort of fell in. I think it's kind of like that. I wonder if Scar Zero pushed that rebel in there. Oh, that would be a great idea for a scene in this add-on. You guys have really good ideas. Maybe we'll have to do that. Ripples accidentally mistook local drunkard Dave as a corpse and threw him in. Yeah. Oh man, again? It's probably right. Yeah. I made that a funk detail? That's clearly not supposed to be a funk detail. Oh, I see why that is. Something about the light coming from above doesn't look quite right there. You know what I mean? Seems off. I feel like it should be a gradient horizontally instead of... It does look at least like interesting, you know? It's okay for now, but I'm like, it just doesn't look right, you know? I don't know. Yeah, and then this will lead into the next area. Trying to decide if I want to end here. Yeah, I think we'll end here for now. I know that doesn't seem like much, but it's been 3 hours and a half stream, and I think this has been a good return to mapping streams. I'm honestly happy with how this turned out. I want to continue doing more mapping streams in the future. Yeah, I'm glad to get back into this. I know I didn't make as much progress as I thought I would. I've done literally about like a third of what I wanted to do today, which is kind of funny. I had all these ideas, about this area of how it was going to look, and we didn't even get there. I want to have eventually a waterfall of blue goo, which I don't think I'm going to do that soon. I think that's more of like a visual polishing thing, but having like a big silo filled with goo with it like pouring in from above would be kind of interesting. Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there next time. But thanks so much for joining me, everyone. This has been a lot of fun, and I really want to keep up this format. You've been giving me a lot of inspiration to continue working on it. You think like Portal Stories Mel, the blue goop is flooding the facility? Is that what it is? I'm very excited for the future. It's okay to take it slowly. It looks like you've done some great progress. Yeah, it is a little bit disheartening how slow. Like, this is just one little room that the player is going to breeze through very quickly. It's not even supposed to be like a important room, but it takes a long time to do these, and at least we were able to get a solid take on that space in the amount of time that I did. Before the stream ends, if there's anything to improve about the snowy models, feel free to reach out. Oh yeah, for sure. I'll let you know, and we might end up asking you for more of your assets as well, because I really like what you're doing, and I think it suits the update super well. So I'll definitely be in touch. Yeah, I've been trying to decide about a raid. Let's see, do we raid? Nobody who I know very well is streaming right now. Do we want to raid? No raids this time. I'm chickening out. But hopefully next time we'll be able to raid somebody. Yeah, hope you all have a good rest of your day. Thanks for joining me on this Saturday, and hopefully this also has inspired you to work on some of your own mapping projects, because I'm really excited to see what we come up with together. But have a good one, everyone. I'll end it on this screen. Bye for now. Bye-bye. See you later. Bye. But, bye for now. Bye-bye. Bye.